Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. This morning we'll be in Nehemiah chapter 11, verse 1 through chapter 12, verse 26. So the leaders of the people settled in Jerusalem, while the rest of the people cast lots to bring one out of every 10 to settle in Jerusalem, the holy city, while the other 9 remained in other cities. The people gave their blessing on all the men who volunteered to settle in Jerusalem. These are the provincial leaders who settled in Jerusalem, while other Israelites, the priests, the Levites, the temple attendants, and the sons of the servants of Solomon, settled in the cities of Judah, each on his own property in their cities. Some of the descendants of Judah and some of the descendants of Benjamin settled in Jerusalem. Of the descendants of Judah, Athaiah, son of Uzziah, the son of Zechariah, the son of Amariah, the son of Shephatiah, the son of Mahalalel, from the descendants of Perez, and Maaseiah, son of Barak, the son of Kolhozeh, the son of Haziah, the son of Adiah, the son of Joarib, the son of Zechariah, from the descendants of Shelah. The sum total of the descendants of Perez, who were settling in Jerusalem, was 468 exceptional men. These are the descendants of Benjamin: Salu, son of Meshullam, the son of Joed, the son of Pedaiah, the son of Koliah, the son of Maaseiah, the son of Ithiel, the son of Jeshiah, and his followers, Gabbai and Salai, 928 in all. Joel, son of Zichri, was the officer in charge of them, and Judah, son of Hasanua, was second in command over the city. From the priests, Jediah, son of Joarib, Jachin, Sariah, son of Hilkiah, the son of Meshullam, the son of Zadok, the son of Moriath, the son of Ahitub, supervisor in the temple of God, and their colleagues who were carrying out work for the temple, 822. And Adiah, son of Jehoram, the son of Pelaliah, the son of Amzi, the son of Zechariah, the son of Pashur, the son of Malchijah, and his colleagues who were heads of families, 242. And Amashai, the son of Azarel, the son of Azai, the son of Meshillemoth, the son of Immer, and his colleagues who were exceptional men, 128. The officer over them was Zabdiel, the son of Hagdolam. From the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hashub, the son of Azrikam, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Buni, Shabbathiah, and Jozabad, leaders of the Levites, were in charge of the external work for the temple of God. Mattaniah, son of Micah, the son of Zabdi, the son of Asaph, the praise leader, who led in thanksgiving and prayer. Bakbukiah, second among his colleagues, and Abda, son of Shammua, the son of Galal, the son of Jeduthun. The sum total of the Levites in the holy city was 284. And the gatekeepers, Akub, Talmon, and their colleagues who were guarding the gates, 172. And the rest of the Levites, or the Israelites, with the priests and the Levites, were in all the cities of Judah, each on his own property. The temple attendants were living on Ophel, and Ziha and Gisphah were over them. The overseer of the Levites in Jerusalem was Uzzi, son of Bani, the son of Hashabiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micah. He was one of Asaph's descendants, who were the singers responsible for the service of the temple of God, for they were under royal orders which determined their activity day by day. Pethiah, son of Meshezabel, one of the descendants of Zerah, son of Judah, was an adviser to the king in every matter pertaining to the people. As for the settlements with their fields, some of the people of Judah settled in Kiriath Arba and its neighboring villages, in Deepen and its villages, in Jekabzeel and its settlements, in Jeshua, in Moladah, in Beth Pelet, in Hazer Shual, in Beersheba and its villages, in Ziklag, in Mechonah and its villages, in En-Rimmon, in Zorah, in Jarmuth, Zanoah, Adulam and their settlements, in Lachish and its fields, and in Azekah and its villages. So they were encamped from Beersheba to the valley of Hinnom. Some of the descendants of Benjamin settled in Geba, Michmash, Ijah, Bethel and its villages, and Anatoth, Nob, and Ananiah, and Hazor, Ramah, and Gittaim, and Hadid, Zeboim, and Nebalat, and Lod, Ono, and the valley of the craftsmen. Some of the Judean divisions of the Levites settled in Benjamin. These are the priests and the Levites who returned with Zerubbabel, son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Meremoth, Iddo, Ginnathon, Abijah, Mijamin, Moadiah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joiarib, Jediah, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jediah. These were the leaders of the priests and their colleagues in the days of Jeshua. And the Levites, Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who together with his colleagues was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving. Bakbukiah and Uni, their colleagues, stood opposite them in the services. Jeshua was the father of Joachim. Joachim was the father of Eliashib. Eliashib was the father of Joiada. Joiada was the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan was the father of Jaddua. In the days of Joachim, these were the priests who were leaders of the families of Sariah, Mariah of Jeremiah, Hananiah of Ezra, Meshullam of Amariah, Jehohanan of Malach, Jonathan of Shechaniah, Joseph of Harim, Adnah of Meremoth, Helkai of Edo, Zechariah of Ginnethon, Meshullam of Abijah, Zikri of Mijamin and of Moadiah, Piltai of Bilgah, Shammua of Shemaiah, Jehonathan of Joiarib, Mattanai of Jediah, Uzi of Salu, Kalai of Amok, Eber of Hilkiah, Hashabiah of Jediah, Nethanel. As for the Levites in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Jehohanan, and Jaddua, the heads of families, were recorded, as were the priests during the reign of Darius the Persian. The descendants of Levi were recorded in the book of the Chronicles as heads of families up to the day of Johanan, son of Eliashib. And the leaders of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, Jeshua, son of Kadmiel, and their colleagues, who stood opposite them to offer praise and thanks, one contingent corresponding to the other, as specified by David, the man of God. Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talman, and Akub were gatekeepers who were guarding the storerooms at the gates. These all served in the days of Joachim, son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and of Ezra the priestly scribe. Okay, so for context in this, you have the walls of Jerusalem being rebuilt, and this leads to them casting lots to bring people to settle into Jerusalem. This is viewed, I think, as somewhat dangerous because Jerusalem doesn't really have much of a standing army at this point. There's not many exiles who have returned. I think only in the tens of thousands, which, I mean, you have fighting forces that are much bigger than that. So it's almost viewed as a risk in and of itself to settle in the city. I think is yeah. From Guzik here. It wasn't enough to see the city walls rebuilt and the spiritual renewal of the people of Jerusalem. Now they concern themselves with getting more people into the city. For a city to prosper and be great, it must be populated, and for more than 70 years, Jerusalem had been nothing but a ghost town. Now, over the last 80 or so years, it has been repopulated, with a new temple built under Ezra, and the walls were built under Nehemiah, but the city still needed more people. Nehemiah also knew the bigger the population of Jerusalem, the bigger the resources for defense and strength in battle. He didn't rebuild the walls just to see some conquering army come and break them down again. And you had some of the leaders of the people dwelling in Jerusalem. It was good that the leaders of the people set the example by living in Jerusalem. Leaders must set the pattern by their lives. They had no right to expect the people to live in Jerusalem if they themselves were not living there. The rest of the people submitted themselves to a lottery system, where 1 out of 10 would be selected to move from the surrounding regions into the city of Jerusalem. So in the end, at least 10% of Judah's population would live in Jerusalem. And the people blessed all the men. Apart from the leaders, who had a special obligation, and those selected in the lottery, who were also obligated, there were all the men who willingly offered themselves to dwell at Jerusalem. These men had a special blessing. They had a unique pioneer spirit. They had the ability to endure some measure of hardship or discomfort to accomplish a greater work of God's kingdom. It was in these days in the rebuilding of Jerusalem that God asked an important question through the prophet Zechariah. For who has despised the day of small things? The answer is, many of us have. But these who offered themselves to willingly live at Jerusalem, so as to take what is small and build it up before the Lord, have decided not to despise the day of small things. Huh. Yeah. Carrying on. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 14, through chapter 11, verse 12. So then, my dear friends, flee from idolatry. I am speaking to thoughtful people. Consider what I say. Is not the cup of blessing that we bless a sharing in the blood of Christ? Is not the bread that we break a sharing in the body of Christ? Because there is one bread, we who are many are one body, for we all share the one bread. Look at the people of Israel. Are not those who eat the sacrifices partners in the altar? Am I saying that idols or food sacrificed to them amount to anything? No, I mean that what the pagans sacrifice is to demons and not to God. I do not want you to be partners with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord in the cup of demons. You cannot take part in the table of the Lord in the table of demons. Or are we trying to provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we really stronger than he is? Everything is lawful, but not everything is beneficial. Everything is lawful, but not everything builds others up. Do not seek your own good, but the good of the other person. Eat anything that is sold in the marketplace without question of conscience, for the earth and its abundance are the Lord's. If an unbeliever invites you to dinner and you'd want to go eat, whatever is served without asking, and you want to go, eat whatever is served without asking questions of conscience. But if someone says to you, this is from a sacrifice, do not eat, because of the one who told you and because of conscience. I do not mean yours, but the other person's, for why is my freedom being judged by another's conscience? If I partake with thankfulness, why am I blamed for the food that I give thanks for? So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, do everything for the glory of God. Do not give offense to Jews or Greeks or to the church of God. Just as I also try to please everyone in all things, I do not seek my own benefit, but the benefit of many, so that they may be saved. Be imitators of me, just as I also am of Christ. I praise you, because you remember me in everything and maintain the traditions, just as I passed them on to you. But I want you to know that Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of a woman, and God is the head of Christ. Any man who prays or prophesies with his head covered disgraces his head. But any woman who prays or prophesies with her head uncovered disgraces her head. For it is one and the same thing as having a shaved head. For if a woman will not cover her head, she should cut off her hair. But if it is disgraceful for a woman to have her hair cut off or her head shaved, she should cover her head. For man should not have his head covered, since he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of the man. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for the sake of woman, but woman for a man. For this reason, a woman should have a symbol of authority on her head, because of the angels. In any case, in the Lord, woman is not independent of man, nor is man independent of woman. Through verse 12. For just as woman came from man, so man comes through woman, but all things come from God. Yeah, it seems like Paul is still hammering the stumbling block thing here of not taking this freedom that they have that, what is meat sacrificed to idols anyway? But saying that the Corinthian Christians should view soberly the freedom that they have and not use it in such a way that poses a stumbling block to other Christians or those of weaker conscience. Yeah, and he says, if there's meat in the marketplace, you don't know where it's from, eat it thankfully, joyfully. But if somebody is offering it to you and says, "Oh, this here, this has been sacrificed to idols," and it's like, probably not. And it's not for their sakes, but for the other person's conscience. And Paul here also points out that there are spiritual realities behind this. That in 19 and 20 of chapter 10, am I saying that idols or food sacrificed to them amount to anything? No, I mean that what the pagans sacrifice is to demons and not to God, and I do not want you to be partners with demons. Yeah, so um, yeah, just shouldn't be sharing in that sort of communion with demons. Yeah, the unwitting fellowship of some of the Corinthian Christians with demons by participating in the dinners at the pagan temples will provoke the Lord to jealousy. He has a right over all our worship and has a right to be offended if we give our fellowship to demons. It doesn't matter that the Corinthian Christians didn't intend to worship demons at these heathen feasts and pagan temples. If a man puts his hand into the fire, it doesn't matter if he intends to burn himself or not. He is burned just the same. Hmm. Yeah, and then Paul offers some practical guidelines with, if you don't know where it's from, it's fine. Paul tells the Corinthian Christians to imitate him. Paul knew he followed Jesus, so he did not hesitate to tell the Corinthian Christians to imitate his walk with the Lord. He knew the Corinthian Christians needed examples, and he was willing to be such an example. Hmm. A few today are willing to say what Paul said. Instead, because of compromise and ungodliness, we are quick to say, "Don't look at me, look at Jesus." While it is true we must all ultimately look to Jesus, every one of us should be an example of those who look to Jesus. Yeah. Paul also talks about the headship of man over woman as Christ is over the church. With these words, Paul sets a foundation for his teaching in the rest of the chapter. Simply put, Paul makes it clear that God has established principles of order, authority, and accountability. Head is an important word in this chapter. Some consider head to mean nothing more than source, in the sense that the head of a river is its source. Though this word can mean this, Paul is not simply saying man came from Jesus, woman came from man, and Jesus came from God. Though that simple understanding is true, it goes much deeper, because in biblical thinking, a source has inherent authority. If something comes from me, there is some appropriate authority I have over it. Hmm. The idea of a head covering was important in this and many other ancient cultures. To wear the head covering, or veil, in some translations, was a public symbol of being under the authority and protection of another. It was a custom, both among the Greeks and Romans and among the Jews, an express law, that no woman should be seen abroad without a veil. This was, and is, a common custom throughout all the East, and none but public prostitutes go without veils. In some cultures today, wearing a hat or some other kind of head covering is a picture of humility and modesty. In the same way, the head covering had an important cultural meaning among the ancient Corinthians. The use of the word veil is an unfortunate one, since it tends to call to mind the full veil of contemporary Muslim cultures. which covers everything but the eyes. This is unknown in antiquity, at least from the evidence of paintings and sculptures. Carrying on, Psalm chapter 34, verses 11 through 22. Come, children, listen to me. I will teach you what it means to fear the Lord. Do you want to really live? Would you love to live a long, happy life? Then make sure you don't speak evil words or use deceptive speech. Turn away from evil and do what is right. Strive for peace and promote it. The Lord pays attention to the godly and hears their cry for help. But the Lord opposes evildoers and wipes out all memory of them from the earth. The godly cry out, and the Lord hears. He saves them from all their troubles. The Lord is near the brokenhearted. He delivers those who are discouraged. The godly face many dangers, but the Lord saves them from each one of them. He protects all his bones, not one of them is broken. Evil people self-destruct. Those who hate the godly are punished. The Lord rescues his servants. All who take shelter in him escape punishment. And finally, Proverbs chapter 21, verses 14 through 16. A gift in secret subdues anger, and a bribe in the bosom strong wrath. The exercise of justice is joy for the righteous, but is terror to the workers of iniquity. A man who wanders away from the way of understanding will rest in the assembly of the dead. Interesting how something so beautiful to some can be such a terror to others. The exercise of justice is joy for the righteous, but is terror for the workers of iniquity. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a good day. Bye.